Always be in harmony. Your kick and your bass line should always be in the same key. Otherwise, the harmony will not be nice and your low end will be messy.
Hi everyone, welcome, and we're very happy to give you this masterclass. I'm André Ettema. I'm a composer and a sound designer and the founder of the Solos. That's a trailer music company. I'm also part of partner of Prolody, and Prolody is a company who developed the bass plugin together with Spinnin Records.
So my name is Jeffrey Lenz. I am also known as Alpharock. So my alias, which I produce under and I DJ under. And I'm also an A&R at Spinnin Records. And today we want to present to you the new bass plugin by Spinnin Records in combination with made with Prolody. It's a plugin which should be really easy to use. It's a plugin that we made for starting producers. So when you have an idea, you really can get it into your project from within a few minutes. It's a synthesizer that has a kick and a bass combination. So that you can actually make an idea. Within a few minutes you have the right kick and the right bass in a good combination with the right sidechain, and so it's really easy to start your track. And André is going to explain a few of the buttons and the options.
What does this button do? Yeah, we'll get to that later. First, bass is actually about the balance between your kick and your bass, and that's always quite a challenge in your mix to get the two working together, even for pros. One thing that we haven't asked you is this is not our natural habitat. So if you want to ask questions or if you're thinking that we tell you some bullshit, please do.
Yeah, definitely. So if you have any questions, just raise your arm and someone will come to you with the microphone.
Yep. So bass actually consists of two synthesizers. There are quite a few people who think that bass is a sample player. Well, it's not. It actually comprises of two synthesizers, a kick synthesizer and a bass synthesizer. And the bass synthesizer is actually two synthesizers. It's called a subtractive synthesizer, like your Moog synth, and an FM frequency modulation synth, like the Yamaha DX7 synth. But it comprises of a kick and a bass. That's the only thing you'll hear in this plugin. And the kick and the bass, and that's the special part of bass, is that the kick and the bass are linked together in terms of volume, spectrum, and timing. And that's where the sidechain comes in.
Yeah. So that's why you have these three buttons. Over here you have the sidechain button, the color button, which gives more high frequencies to the bass, and the length of the bass line.
Yeah, but the best part of the plugin is the bass and the kick working together. For instance, they are in the same key. So if you have a kick or a bass in the key C or D, your kick will also be in that same key.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't, then it's possible that your kick and your bass will sound like boom instead of boom. And
yeah, it should always be in harmony. Your kick and your bass line should always be in the same key. Otherwise, the harmony will not be nice and your low end will be messy.
Yeah. So the buttons, what do the buttons do? You see quite a lot of buttons. There's display, whereas in the red line assembles your kick and the yellow one is your bass. Here you see that a bit more clearly. If you could push the keyboard once. So that's the bass. It's quite a deep bass, this one. And there's the kick. So the red line is your kick, and the yellow line is the bass. And I'll get to the sidechain a bit later on. There's a slider here, which is quite obvious, I think. The kick right here, so you'll only hear the kick.
Yeah. So if you fade this to the left, you only see the kick, and you see no yellow line because there's no bass line. And if you fade it to the right, then you have only the bass line and no red sign of the kick. So if you put it in the middle, you have the perfect blend between the kick and the bass line. So if you prefer to have a little more kick, you can just adjust it a little bit and do it the other way around as well.
Yep. So that's kick and bass. There's a volume, an output knob, obviously. Again, I'll come to the sidechain and the timing later on. The kick and the bass are linked in terms of volume and spectrum as well, and the spectrum is represented right there. They are in the same key. They are also a bit in the same sound. The sounds are actually linked together, and there's a color slider here, which actually represents quite a few things. I told you that there's actually two synthesizers for the bass, a subtractive synthesizer and an FM synthesizer. It's all under the hood, you can't touch it, but the color slider is programmed in such a way that there's a minimal effect here, and if you put it open, you have more intensity or crunch or presence of the sound.
A little bit. This is the wrong one, sorry. Put it like this. It adds more high frequency, so it's more noticeable in your mix down, and it gets a little bit dirtier like that.
And it's different for every sound. Different functions have been used in every sound, and the only thing that actually mattered to us when programming the sounds and even designing the plugin was it had to be musical.
Yeah.
You have to have impact quite easily and change quite easily, but it has to be musical and it's different every time, which makes it exciting as well. We could show you some of the other presets and how it sounds.
Yeah, so this is how all the presets look. You have like multiple presets. You can also choose it by genre, by the artist who made it, and you can actually just push this button and it will sound different. So you have for different genres, you have different kind of sounds. And you can unlink them as well. So when you have like, you want this kick, but you want this bass line, you can just unlink them by pushing this button. So you can choose the right kick and bass for your own track, and that's basically how this folder works. Now we go back. So there are only two views in this really simple plugin, and that's the way we want it to work. We want it to be really simple for the people. It's really easy to use. Just select the kick, select the bass line, put them together. Use the sidechain or the color or the length of it, and then it's right for your own mixdown.
And it has to be a very simple source of inspiration. So when you're making a track and you're in a flow of producing or composing that particular track, then it's very important that you have to work fast. You got to work fast, and with this plugin you can work fast because you don't have that tedious process of of getting your kick and your bass fitting together.
Exactly.
So as to the presets, you see that there are a lot of presets, and also the main music styles of this moment are covered.
Yeah.
Again, we made musical presets and a musical plugin. It's not. There are presets with of which you would think, well, this might not be really big room, but you can use it in big room. Most of the presets are, but it's musical, so it just depends.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions about this? Yeah, I see your question.
Can I spit in Dutch?
Yeah, of course. You will get the mic to you.
I'm coming.
Ik vroeg me eigenlijk af, is er ook de mogelijkheid om de MIDI anders te laten gaan dan van de bas?
Ja, zeker. Dat ga ik zo meteen.
Ja.
Oh, oké, dat kan zo meteen.
Ja.
Okay.
We will get to that later on. Yeah.
Zal ik dat nu uitleggen?
Dankjewel.
Yeah. So I've used this bass plugin in my project for it's called Stars, and it's released under Spinnin Records. As you can see, this is my project folder for Stars. I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with that record, but I will show you how I used the plugin in that record. So I'll show you a little bit of the record real quick. How it sounds. So for this one, I chose to only use the bass line because I use my own kicks from my own sample pack. But I will show you how it sounds when it's in the middle. Oh, sorry, I have to. This is a split MIDI. So this is my MIDI. This is the melody I used for my bass line, and like his question was, can you actually split the MIDI so the kick has another melody than your bass line? And the answer is yes. If you look at this this below, I will take it a little bit higher so you can see it. Right here we have the kick. So from C-1 till C0 and C1 we have the kicks, and from C1 to C3 we have the bass lines. So together it sounds like that. And if I enable this one, so the light is off, so you would hear something different. So if I put this one on, the combination is there. So that's how you create different rhythms within your bass line and within your kick. And if I would only want to use the kick as a ghost kick, so I don't really want to use this kick, I just put it one octave down. So from C0 to -2 to C-1, you have the ghost kick. So it will sound like this. And if I mute this part below, I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but then you only have the bass line without the sidechain. So it's really important that you look into your own mix. Do I want the sidechain on it or not? So if you don't want the sidechain on it, you just put the MIDI of your bass line there, and then you have a bass line. Does anybody have any questions regarding that? No questions. Nice. Okay. Then we continue. So this is how my bass line sounds. It's actually the let me show you. This was the main preset. So I decided that the sidechain needed to be faster. That's how you recognize that the sidechain will go faster. You can actually do it in doubles as well. And trebles.
You can also see what happens with the bass over there.
So you can play around with that. Look into what's the best for your own record. So for my record, I chose the triplets, and I gave it a little more color, so it's more in front of my mix. So for myself, I decided not to go with the bass, or not to go with the kick, and only go with to go with my own kick. So together it sounds like that. Does anybody have any questions about that? No questions so far? Okay. Let's see what else we can show you. And you also have the length button, of course. If you put that one down, shorter.
Yeah, that's the length of the bass. And again, that's in normal, it's in triplets, and it's dotted. And I don't know if anyone knows what dotted is. Dotted is when you see a note like this and there's a dot behind it, which it's nothing more than half of the value more. But again, it's being musically implemented. And this is what Jeffrey's doing right now is actually changing all lengths, and he's busy with side chaining. I don't know if I think you guys all know what side chaining is, right? Who doesn't know what side chaining is? Side chain compression.
Sidechain is pretty normal within the EDM scene, and I guess
It's a very distinctive sound. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I will show you how I laid this one a little bit more into the mix, because normally it sounds like just like this. For this record, I chose a more powerful bass with a lot of high frequencies as well, because I wanted the bass to stand out, especially when I make progressive house. I really want the bass line to stand out because I use a lot of harmonies. But if I used another kick, which will be more long, if I would make techno, for instance, or something, I want to make the kick longer instead of the bass line longer. So it depends on what kind of genre you make, on what kind of kick you want and what kind of bass line you want. So for progressive house, it's more bassline driven for the harmonies, and for techno, it's more the kick, which is on front and on hardstyle and genres like that.
Yep.
So yeah, so I'm making progressive house right now, and this is my kick. So I want to see what kind of length I want. If you would make future bounce, for instance, this would be an easier length, the 1/4. I see a question over there. Can somebody get the mic to?
No, that's fine. Did we hear the pop stuff a little bit?
Sorry?
Did we hear the pop stuff?
The pop stuff?
The poppy stuff.
In the break, you mean?
No, I mean just in general, the pop stuff.
With the pop stuff? I'm not sure what you mean by that.
The genre pop in the plugin.
Oh, the genre pop.
Okay.
Ah, okay. Of course.
You can play a couple of sounds of that. It's still a kick in the bass, obviously.
So it all depends on what kind of record you want to make, of course. You know, you have multiple options. A few with a lot of high frequencies on the bass, and a few which are just subs. You know, which are purely bass lines. So it all depends on how many high frequencies you want on it. You can also layer it with a bass line which is a few octaves higher. So you have a layer which has more the higher frequencies of your bass line, which gives you more frequencies in your harmony. And you can also just use it for your sub, so you have a bass line beneath the rest of your melodies. So if you look at this one, the color is at 0 right now, but still has a lot of high frequencies to it. But if you use another one, this one has far less high frequencies.
And that particular preset, Sweet Dreams, was modeled after the Eurythmics' Sweet Dreams, the 80s hit.
Yeah, so that's basically how you can choose which kind of kick or bass you want. Nowadays, the difference between kick in progressive house, for instance, or pop isn't that big. It's mainly the how short your kick is, because the length of the kick depends on what kind of genre you make. But we still use the same kicks for pop tracks as well as for progressive house or electro house sometimes as well. But of course, for hardstyle and for techno and these kind of more distinctive kind of genres where the kick is really leading, you use other kind of kicks and you use more distortion on it. So that kick is more in front, but in pop the kick generally is not really in front of the mixdown. It's more it's in there, but it's not in really in front in your face.
So the special thing about bass is A, the sound, and B, the whole side chaining thingy. And could you if the musical aspect as well of the kick when you're using the side chain and you're going down to 1/64, you hear that the kick becomes shorter, and it's that's a very short kick. And
this would, for instance, be an intro kick or something. You know, a lot of DJs use their intro kicks are really small kicks. So if you go into your drop, you make it longer, but you still have the same kick, and that's really important to be able to work with the same kick throughout your whole track, but be able to make it shorter within a few clicks.
Yeah, and that's a very musical aspect of it. Those are certain choices that we made, and I think it's working really well.
So is this oh, you have another question?
Yeah, definitely. Are you guys planning on putting 808s in?
Yeah, sure. We're planning.
What's the question?
If we're planning on doing 808s within the packs, so for the artist packs.
Yeah.
And right now we're working on artist packs. So for instance, a Spinnin Records artist releases an artist pack. So you would see the name of the artist right here and enable it, and then you see like all the different kicks they use in their projects as well as the bass lines. But yeah, we'll definitely plan on doing artist packs with 808 producers as well, for trap producers and guys like that. So right now these are all like the factory plugins or the factory presets. Actually, but yeah, we're definitely planning on doing more artist packs. So the kicks that are within this plugin are really used in records from artists on Spinnin Records. That's definitely one of the highlights of the plugin that should be, and it's coming.
It's very easy to work with the plugin. I mean, if you're going to start with a kick and a bass, then this is very easy. And if you have an idea for a lead line, a synth lead line, and you need a quick kick and a bass, well, there it is. It's very easy. It already has the sidechain information in it, so you can work really fast, and that's actually why we designed it.
Exactly. And I want to show you guys one last trick within or function within the bass plugin. It's called the split audio function. It's the function where you can actually split the kick and the bass to two different channels, so you can process them within two different channels. So within Logic, you go to your mixer, and you go to options and create new aux channel. Then there you have it. And if you enable the split audio function and you go to the bass 3 and 4, then it pops up and you create an automation track on it. So it's right here right now, and you enable the, let's see, put it on 0. And if you can see right now, it's within different channels. So right now you have, on this channel you have the kick, and on this channel you have the bass line. And by that you can actually just really easy do an equalizer on the bass. So you filter the bass, but the kick remains the same. That's how it's a really easy function to use as well. And if you want to just equalize your kick, it won't affect your bass line. So that's a really easy to use function as well. So you get to process your kick and your bass differently as well, but you can control them within one bass plugin, so there's only one wheel folder that you're using for this. So this is also a very helpful way to use the Spinnin Records bass plugin.
Yeah. It's just within a few clicks you're there, you have a bass and a kick, and they just work together, and that's the main thing about the Spinnin bass plugin.
Any questions about that? Because I think we explained everything regarding the bass, all the functions within the bass plugin. If there aren't,
I have a question. Where can we get it, and how much is it?
You can get it at spinninbase.com. I think, yeah, that's the website.